Hi, my name is Melissa from Resilience Law. I'm a Massachusetts state disability retirement attorney, and I was here to talk today about PTSD and disability retirement. As a part of my work, I help a number of particularly first responders who go out of work due to PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's the nature of these jobs that they encounter horrific situations on a regular basis, and many folks who are in these roles handle them very well for years, and then there may be a straw that breaks the camel's back. And it can be extremely difficult to get support from different departments or agencies where someone may be dealing with mental health conditions, even though that condition is a result of their work. The laws that govern disability retirement in Massachusetts are more aimed at physical disabilities. When they were written, mental disabilities weren't as, they certainly existed, but they weren't considered as serious or as real as physical conditions. And although medical knowledge has advanced to the point where we now realize the very significant weight of mental conditions, the law is still, I think, in my opinion, dragging behind, and it can be much more difficult to get on disability retirement benefits if you have PTSD than if you have a torn rotator cuff, for example. If someone is applying for disability retirement for PTSD, there's a number of complicating factors, not the least of which is that you need an MD to fill out your physician statement, where you're probably getting your primary mental health treatment from someone who's not an MD. It may be a social worker, it may be a PhD, or a master's in education. Typically, the people who are providing frontline mental health treatment are not an MD, and that doesn't mean they're not qualified to treat you, but for the purposes of disability retirement, it can tie up the whole process while you find someone who is able to fill out the physician statement. Another issue is that PTSD has many complicating factors and or symptoms, including aggression, including drug abuse or use. And those types of things, if they show up, potentially you may have, I've seen cases where the applicant has had anger issues and has potentially gotten into fights at work and has had trouble in that dimension. And I've also seen many cases where the person's PTSD has led them to drinking or drug use, and that can muddy the waters as well when you're applying, where it's potentially a lever for the retirement board, who may be influenced by your employer to throw out your claim or to try to claim that your PTSD is just a symptom of your drinking. And again, obviously, that's not what the medical science is telling us. The medical science is extremely clear that PTSD causes all of these issues, that people have coping mechanisms to get through the day. And I've seen these, it's very common for me to see these kind of conditions going hand in hand. So for people who are applying for disability retirement for PTSD, I strongly recommend starting with an attorney because, again, they make the process so complicated, and ultimately, in a lot of these cases, it's pretty arbitrary how they enforce treatment for PTSD and kind of how they would handle an ADR application for PTSD. There's also a concern that many first responders aren't eligible for 111F injured on duty benefits if they go out due to PTSD. And again, the only reason I can see for that is that the law treats physical issues and mental issues differently. And that's something that really is frustrating to me as an attorney who helps people who've been injured and disabled. I hear horrific stories and see the firsthand how PTSD is so severely disabling in so many cases. For it to be brushed aside by the law and by many of the local retirement boards in Massachusetts, I am eager to fight on the side of any first responder who's dealing with PTSD or any state employee with PTSD, because I do think that the law treats it unfairly, to say the least. If you have any questions, if you're a first responder or if you're a state employee who's dealing with PTSD and wondering if disability retirement is right for you, the best time to call is before you leave your employment. The second best time to call is right now. So if you have any questions, I'm always happy to talk and answer questions on the phone. You can reach me, the lawyer, directly. My name is Melissa at Resilience Law. Give me a call. Let's get started.